carburetor overhauled or your new vehicle computer system diagnosed or programmed, PDR Automotive has the experienced, knowledgeable staff that can handle all your automotive needs. Online at pdrauto.com, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR. You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Level. Mangione hit with 3 murder charges in New York, including murder in the second degree as a crime of terrorism. In what looked like something out of a scene of a movie, Mangione was flown into New York City. He's walking in his orange jumpsuit and shackles. His legal team saying this is an example of why he might not get a fair trial in New York because of all the publicity.
The chairman of the House Ethics Committee did not support the panel's release of a scathing report on former Congressman Matt Gaetz. Fox's Jared Halpin has more from D.C.
House Ethics Committee Chairman, Republican Michael Guest, says while he does not challenge the panel's findings about former Congressman Matt Gaetz, he does take great exception to the majority's vote to release a report on an individual no longer under the committee's jurisdiction. He says releasing the report is a dangerous departure with potentially catastrophic consequences. The Ethics Committee is equally divided between Republicans and Democrats. The committee says it discovered substantial evidence of Gaetz using illicit drugs and paying women for sex, including a 17-year-old girl. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The 5 days of Christmas strike at Starbucks is spreading unfiltered. Workers United baristas in 4 more cities walking out in New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, and St. Louis. This after locations in Colorado, Ohio, and Pennsylvania joined Saturday. Workers United is calling for higher wages. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultrafine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The United Nations has raised the death count of a recent massacre in Haiti. Officials say over 200 older people were killed by a gang earlier this month. The UN says the gang took people from their homes and from a place of worship, interrogated them, and then executed them. Human rights groups in Haiti say the massacre began after the son of the leader of the Wharf Jeremy gang died from an illness. Iran is facing an energy crisis which could push the nation's economy to collapse. Fox's Stephanie Bennett with the story.
Years of sanctions, mismanagement, and aging infrastructure has really taken a toll on Iran's energy sector. Plus, you have Israeli strikes that have really pushed this situation over the edge. Now, to try and combat this, Iran has been rationing its supplies, forcing government offices and banks to close or work at reduced hours. Schools have moved online, shops and homes are left in darkness, and industrial plants have been denied power. The New York Times reports that 17 power plants had completely taken offline this week, and the rest were only partially operational as of last Friday.
Iran's currency has fallen to its lowest level in history, losing more than 10% of its value since President-elect Trump won the election in November. Nearly 200 people were rescued after a gondola malfunctions at a Colorado ski resort.
Officials at Winter Park Resort, west of Denver, are investigating what caused a crack in a ski lift over the weekend, stranding 174 skiers and snowboarders on gondolas for hours. Ski Patrol says the chairlift system automatically stopped when it detected a malfunction. Every rider was brought down to safety by ropes and harnesses, and no injuries were reported. Footage circulating online shows multiple people, including a child, being brought down to safety. Workers were replacing the section of the lift that cracked Sunday. State regulators and the lift's manufacturer are helping to investigate. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
I'm Tom Rigotti. This is Fox News.
that have been pretty ugly basketball games for the fans. I think we gave them a pretty good show today. It was two really good basketball teams. Very proud of this group. We fought through a lot. This is a team that's 11 games into their growth and played a very, very tough and demanding schedule. And there's been some unbelievable learning opportunities in that stretch. Today was one. You're up 10, they go on 11-0 run, and as I call it, chaos. Nobody does that better than Missouri. Dennis does a fabulous job, and kind of coming off the year they had last year, he's put together just an incredible team. But they changed.
Smooth pipes, smooth, ran into a YouTube ad, and you know what, wasn't going to ride that through, so cut the audio, and darn, didn't get here early enough to put that on the little sound card, or it's not that's an old school term.
Well, this is holiday work.
Whatever.
You're kind of, what? I mean, let's be honest, everybody out there is probably about 60% right now.
Yeah.
Wallering.
I'm a little less than that.
Yeah, probably.
I'll be honest.
Listen, having Lucas home and enjoying the finer things of Ballpark Village and patios and Enterprise Center and woo. I said I don't even want to start to think how much money I spent down in St. Louis. I think I could go to Florida for a week on what I spent down there. And but we had a good time, man. It was awesome being at that game. Boys' first time at the Bragging Rights game. So, and my first time to not cover it, to just enjoy it as a fan. So it was just really cool. What everybody else has experienced. It was awesome to go to we were at Ballpark Village the night before, tons of Illinois fans. Then we go to patios for an Illinois event and ran into a bunch of people that we all know and stuff, and had a great time visiting with them. Then, of course, the game. It's just so cool to see all the Illinois fans. And it was, 70-30? Would you call it?
Yeah, 70-30, maybe even teetering a little bit more to that. More than that.
I mean, Mizzou fans got loud a few times. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But
every fan in that building got loud. One common foe, as far as that goes, that being the Zebras, Heine Anderson and company.
Oh boy!
Wow.
Lucas said he has a Twitter account.
He does.
There's a Heine Twitter account.
There is. I don't think it's run by him.
Probably not him, right?
Spots where he's at. He does more games than anyone in the country.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
Maybe that's part of the quality control issues.
I think on the third straight-up foul by Merez Johnson, it happened in front of us. And when that occurred, Lucas, my oldest, got up, and he didn't curse. I was proud of him for not cussing, but he did say a few things towards the official, and we were up in 308, this section, and it got real quiet, and I was like, well, he can't hear you. And everybody in the section started laughing, and Lucas, he just looks at me and he goes, yeah, but I feel a lot better. And this guy in front of me started laughing. He goes, amen, baby, you said it for us. So it was fun. It was a fun day, and wow, good win, right? That's one of those, I don't care what it looks like against Missouri. I just want that victory. And that's what Illinois did, and got some amazing play from a couple of guys. I thought Merez, even though the foul trouble, I thought he brought energy, brought defense. Just seemed like he was getting to a lot of loose balls, or forcing some loose balls, even if Missouri would get it back. I just thought he had a lot of energy. I liked what I saw to Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. He came in, and I think he affected the game in a positive way as well. Ben, there's some negatives here. Ben obviously just was just being abused by Mitchell, but Mitchell's good. I didn't realize how good he was.
Yep.
And of course,
former 5-star.
Yeah, Tony Perkins, of course, just thrives on Illinois. So you knew that was going to happen in that game. But overall, and of course, Will Riley is just, I don't know. It's a question mark right now. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But obviously, the backcourt was amazing. I know you wrote about it, and you put in there that they are becoming one of the best backcourts in the country. I want to see the other top three because, I mean, the way that Kylan, then I'll shut up here, the way that Kylan's doing it on the defensive end, which you noted in your article, and continues to do it over and over. And probably that game last night, you maybe didn't notice it as much because you weren't thinking about Robinson dominating. But as you pointed out, he had 0 points, and I don't think he had, 1 assist, 2 assists or something. So Kylan just did an unbelievable job. And then Kasparas, he makes you shake your head once in a while, but man,
no doubt.
The step back three, the shot in the lane. You know, Lucas and I were arguing the whole game about, he said Mitchell, I said Kasparas, who the best player on the court was. And I'm like, after Kasparas hit that little floater or whatever it was in the lane late, I'm like, well, that just sealed my victory. And he started laughing. He was really good again. And that's the first time I've seen him live. So to watch him move with the ball especially is just so fun.
It really is. Yeah, you understand why he's highly regarded, why he has the ceiling that he does ultimately, and the stones to knock down that shot, that turnaround. And it was cool to hear Brad. I know that we mentioned it earlier last week that it was said, I think, at a Rebounders event that he was in the gym after Tennessee from midnight until 2 a.m. putting up a lot of shots. Brad then added on to that yesterday by mentioning it was throughout last week put up 4,200 shots on their,
is that right?
Their NOAA system. They've got the tracking where you can, as facial recognition, the coaches can go in there, the players can as well, of how many shots a certain player took, what their make and miss rate were. They even like the spots on the rim where it actually went in or not.
Ridiculous.
So that's all pretty cool. But to see a guy like that not play up to his standard against Tennessee and really struggle in some late game situations and be motivated and have that not sit well, that's along the lines of what an Iowa DeSumo would have done, what the ultimate competitors do. So he did not play perfect yesterday.
No.
And you look at the stat line and you see the 5 turnovers, and he blew a layup during that 11-0 run from Missouri where it was Illinois up 10. Maybe they'll step on their throat. They still have not figured out how to do that to opponents this year. And within less than 2.5 minutes, Missouri's actually leading.
That was crazy.
And so for him to miss that layup, then immediately foul, send him to the line. Of course, everybody's in the double bonus by that point because, hear whistles in my sleep till New Year's. But yeah, I mean, it's the game is different in the final minute, and I can say that maybe as somebody that was not that guy, you know, in our playing career, and of course we didn't extend on past that, but you can, as someone that's watched it enough and covered it closely enough, and to know that the pressure just gets different, the amplitude of the volume and the stage and the bright lights, and you just see guys. It's tough to come through in those moments, and for KJ to be willing to take those shots, know that the game is on the line when those happen, and to just be as smooth as that turnaround jumper was and to go in as the biggest shot in the game. Yes, you still needed Kylan to come down with that rebound.
Huge.
Make one free throw. You open the door by only making 1 of 2 and need a couple threes to clang off for Missouri. But number one, like you were saying, any one of those victories is a good victory. When you get that 4-foot-tall trophy on your side, it's just absurdly large. And Kylan fumbled it around a little bit when he was trying to hold it. But a lot of different layers to break down. I thought Joey did a fantastic – if you haven't read Joey's piece on Kylan, that was great. And opened into the Champaign connection. Kylan said that, you know, his first bragging rights memory was Revante hitting the step-back 3 10 years ago. I can't believe that's been 10 years.
Wow.
And fellow Champaign native, and obviously Kylan's getting his moment as well. So that backcourt gives you a lot of confidence. I think as an Illini fan, as Brad Underwood, I think both those guys can look to their side and see a really darn good player, guys that complement each other well. Kylan with the defense, and has shown offensively can do some things too, and Kasparas can do a lot with the ball and make step-back threes and all that. So nice win. You feel a lot differently going into Christmas with the W.
Yes, you do.
Versus the opposite, and it hung there in the balance as long as possible, and just kind of a messy, chaotic game. Brad said there, the one clip that I didn't botch and allowed you to hear, he said Missouri turns it into chaos.
Everything.
The whole thing was
Every
chaos.
time. Yeah.
And it says a lot about Illinois to be able to get the win there.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the thing that struck me the most, and it's not as though I haven't noticed this season necessarily, but the thing that really struck me when I see Kerry Booth check in, and then when I see Jake Davis check in, and I sit there and I thought to myself yesterday, and a lot of it was because of the 44 fouls that they blew on that court. It seemed like 84, but I guess it was only 44. But Illinois doesn't have a lot of depth, or they run out of depth quick.
Yep.
I'll put it that that way, because Tommy's in foul trouble, obviously, because right off the bat, Ben gets burnt, Tommy's got a foul, and I'm like, okay, we can't do this. Like, I want to get to that, by the way, with Ben, but on defense. But anyway, and then Merez has the fouls that shouldn't have been, but the fouls that are called. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there thinking, going into this season, it felt like to me, now maybe I'm thinking in my mind before Ty decided to redshirt, in my mind I was thinking, I don't know how Brad, and I did this last year and it figured itself out, so I don't know why I get anxiety about it, but I'm like, I don't know how he's going to figure out who needs to play the most minutes and when and where, et cetera, and what rotation he's going to go with off the bench and who's doing what. But all of a sudden in that game, I just was like, man, we are kind of lacking depth. And because you had two big guys in foul trouble, Ben is playing right now like somebody that shouldn't be on the court. So right there, you're taking away who you thought would be a guy that would play 26 to 28 minutes a game. And all of a sudden, you're just like, okay, well, we don't have a lot of depth. Mm-hmm. If we get in the situations where foul trouble could occur, and believe me, I think Merez is always going to have a little bit of that. Number one, he's a freshman, and freshmen normally don't get the benefit of the doubt anyway. And if Ben, to me, it all comes down, I guess where I'm going with this now is to Ben Humrickhouse, who has got to be better. It's just that simple. He's got to be better. And I feel like we're just piling on the poor kid. And Brad is just totally arguing for him like he should. I just feel like Ben's maybe in his head a little bit. Now, you can be in your head on the offensive end. On the defensive end, you can't. I mean, he's just not good defensively. And what I don't get is going into a game where you knew Mark Mitchell was going to maybe be the best player on the court, if not the second best behind KJ. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why you're matching them up defensively. I get it that Ben is 6'9" or whatever. I get it on paper that is the matchup that should occur. I just was like, we can't do this. We can't not let Mark Mitchell just come down and isolate every time. And he did it like 10 of the first 12 possessions.
I know.
And I'm like, we cannot just continue to let them do this. And that's where I saw like a guy like Trey White. Like, do you not want to get Trey White? I mean, like, so here's me as a coach, and then I'll shut up. Going into this game, knowing that Ben Humrickhouse is he's fighting right now hard to just get his game back to where it should be, right? And you know he's in his head. There's no way you can't be. Kind of like Will Riley, and we'll talk about him. I just don't know why Brad wouldn't have just relieved a little bit of that and said, hey, Ben, you're not guarding him. I'm going to put Trey on him, and you just worry about whoever, and then try to get things rolling on the other end. And for Lord's sake, try to get a second rebound. I just don't understand how you can't grab two rebounds in a game. Kylan Boswell had 9. I just don't understand it. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, is it me, or it just seems so glaring? Like, why has Ben covering or guarding Mitchell, and then all of a sudden within the first 5 seconds, foul on Tommy? And I'm like, here we go. I didn't like that with Brad. I thought Brad had a chance to just kind of let Ben breathe a little bit and not say, hey, I know you're really down on yourself. I know you're kicking yourself. I know the whole Illinois world hates you right now, but here, go guard this former 5-star guy that's going to isolate you in the post every time down the court. I just didn't like it.
It was so glaring going into the game that based on if there were no changes to the starting lineup, that's probably how it was going to match up. And it was just like, okay, Mitchell's going to go at Humrickhouse and most likely probably abuse him.
Yes.
And he's one of the top guys in the country in drawing fouls, so when he's not scoring through him, which Ben's just not that physical of a guy.
No, I didn't even blame Ben for yesterday.
Right.
I didn't even blame Ben. Blame Ben. I'm just like, this is unfair to him.
And I don't necessarily think, that he was playing soft defense.
No, I don't either.
A better athlete who's stronger was going at and attacking him, and that's just not where you want to match him up. So should Brad have immediately before the game even started, say we're gonna maybe surprise them and throw Merez in the starting lineup and have Merez go at him from the very beginning. That's one thing that he could have done. I guess I was doing it in my head too. I was like, all right, how do you make it so where Trey White can guard him? Well, then Ben's guarding either the center, the 7 foot,
right.
which they just had some 7 foot lumbering, not very skilled guys. Which maybe that's what you do. You like throw Ben on that dude and make him make a turnaround 4-footer, which they struggle with.
If he beats me, so be it.
Right.
But you're right. You're right.
It is just the way it goes. Like you got Tommy as 7-footer on 7-footer. They play 3 guards around the perimeter. If they would have put Ben on Tamar Bates, obviously they're going to attack him downhill. They were hunting him out, and that's what teams are going to do.
Yep.
It is alarming that the last 3 games between Wisconsin, Tennessee, and this one, he's played 77 minutes. He has 3 rebounds.
It's unfathomable.
That's really hard to do.
Right.
That's really, really hard to do to be 6'9" and have that happen. So
can you imagine telling him the next 77 minutes, I only want you to get 3 rebounds?
3 boards.
That's it.
You should run into 3 rebounds.
Right. Yeah, just accidentally. Off of
should.
Merez's hands, and you scoop one up. There's one.
You would think. One of those rebounds was fantastic. Put back slam against Tennessee, but you need a little bit more there. So I will say, though, that for Brad to even out the minutes, the Illini fans have been banging the table for Merez hard.
Yes.
And it ended up he probably would have matched, if not maybe eclipsed, Ben's minutes yesterday had he not been in foul trouble.
Agree.
And maybe 2 or 3 of those 5 fouls were pretty questionable, especially the one he's fouled out on, going straight up on the block. He played 19 minutes. Ben plays 21. And when you look at it, we've talked about this recently since the start of the season, and as we've been forecasting it, like, can Merez and Tommy play more together?
Yeah.
The Big Ten has a lot of teams that want to play 2 big lineups and that start 2 bigs, essentially. You got Derek Queen and Julian Reese at Maryland. You've got Purdue doing what they do with Trey Kaufman-Renn and Will Berg. I know that recently they haven't been starting Berg. They've just kind of been playing Renn at the 5, but Indiana does it. You can go on down the list of
good point.
Michigan, Danny Wolf, and Vlad Golden.
Yep.
So maybe it's just going to make sense to throw that out there. And I do feel bad for Ben, too, because it is, like, it's been well stated what the issues have been with him.
Right.
And you are just kind of piling on, which it's on him to fix it. And he's an older player. He's played a lot of college basketball, not at this level. Like, he played 1 year in the Valley, and before that 3 years at NAIA. But he's got to figure it out. Like, the 3-ball, again, I will continue to maintain. He's a better shooter than he's shown. He went 1 for 3. It wasn't awful.
No.
I think he's going to make shots. Defensively, some of it is limitations. Some of it, you just maybe got to be a little bit more gritty and fight a little bit more. Jay Lehman, who we are actually going to be joined by here pretty soon, would tell you that he was not the most gifted of athletes, but it was somebody that maybe had to do it with anticipation and had to just outthink the opponent. And I know it's different sports, but football's a very physical game.
Yes,
how do you make up for some of the athletic things that you aren't blessed with in comparison to somebody else to just make it work? And just maybe Christmas break's going to be needed for him as much as anybody. Although you could say the same thing for Will Riley, who's really fighting it
Big
too.
time.
Made 2 of his last 23 threes and had some really good looks that just didn't go down.
Yeah, I was going to go with him. And again, after all what we've just said, I just want to preface that I mean that was just unfair to Ben last night. Like, we can rip on the rebounding. I don't mind that. But, like, telling me that Ben Humrickhouse is going to contain Mark Mitchell, I mean, no, that's not going to happen. It wouldn't happen. Like, they play 20 games, and Mitchell would do what he did last night. So I feel bad a little bit for Ben. Now, that doesn't absolve some of the other stuff that he's already done this year that I haven't liked. But, obviously, gosh, you look at that Arkansas game and you're just like, oh, man, if we can just get that out of him offensively especially. It's just kind of crazy in my mind to think, like, we're worried about his defense, but yet we'll forgive him if he's making threes on the other end, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like we just need you, Ben, to be even. Like, going into a game, you're going to be negative whatever on the defensive end. So we need you to even that out on the positive end and just make yourself a 0. And then we've got guys like Kasparis that can get the positive, Kylan that can get the positive, Tommy, who just quietly had another double-double, I mean, wasn't quiet, but obviously for a guy who didn't get a lot of minutes due to foul trouble himself, but goes for 11 and 10. Is it just that easy to get double-doubles anymore? Because it seems like that didn't happen often, in the history of Illinois. I know Dion got a lot of them and James got a lot of them, but, man, all of a sudden to have Kofi do it and, Shannon was doing it seemed like, and now you just got a guy, 21-year-old freshman coming in and just getting you double-doubles. But, yeah, I don't know.
Helps be 7-1, I guess.
Well,
he's been a better rebounder than I thought he would be. I did not think he was going to be someone that would be a double-double most nights.
I agree.
And thought that – I think he has shown at times, I think more so scoring around the basket, that does he shy away from contact? Does he fight through physicality as much as I'd want him to? Or maybe post up when he gets a matchup on a guard. Some of that is Illinois just not feeding him the ball.
I agree.
But other times I desire a little bit more from him. But on the whole, I mean, to come down with the boards like that is very encouraging. And I know that we had somebody, I think it was Gary on the Max Twin City Recycling text line, said, make sure to bring up Lon's favorite stat, 42-30 on the glass that game. And some offensive rebounds for sure, especially in the first half. That was hurting Missouri.
There's no doubt. And the other thing, too, you could drop Tommy in the middle of that court without me knowing who he is and watch him pass one time. I'm like, yeah, he's a European. I love his passes. Like, they're from the hip. He does, like, different things, and you're just like, wow, what a pass. I have this really weird ability, Derek, and I don't know why, but when I'm watching basketball, the pass can just occur. I mean, literally within a split second, my mouth opens and I'm like, nice pass. And it will be like 5 seconds before anybody in the crowd reacts. And with Tommy yesterday, there were a couple of times I was like, oh, nice pass. And then it's like 5 seconds later, we're all like cheering. I'm like, man, how did he see him? That's fun to watch him play. It is fun to watch Tommy play. And it's too bad that, he was getting kind of some bogus fouls as well as Merez. So that was limiting them, but certainly I think, obviously if Merez isn't in foul trouble, there's times where he's absolutely fouling. But I thought he did get, on at least 2, maybe 3 of those calls that he was going straight up. So, you would have seen a lot more of Merez, and I think would have been a prettier game, essentially, if they're not calling those. But unfortunately, they called them. Now, Will Riley, I know we are going to call Jay Lehman here in a minute and get 30 minutes in with Jay to talk a little bit of football, SMU getting smoked. But is Will just in his head as well?
I think part of it is he's probably trying to do a little bit too much. I thought that more so in the Tennessee game, it was more noticeable to me in that he kept trying to make stuff happen off the dribble. And every time he caught it, the ball immediately went down. He was trying to shake his defender. Maybe it needs to just be simplified in that try to find catch-and-shoot threes. Right. If not, look for the next play. We don't need you to dance with it and try to break things down because the ball is stopping with him, it seems like, and the offense is not flowing as it gets to him. Now, when he makes shots like that, like he's capable of, like he did on the opening night, we know that he can scorch the nets, and it's great offense. But that's something where confidence is maybe part of it. I think some would bring up the fact that his struggles come during a stretch of where Illinois played a lot of high major games recently, and there is a step up in competition. There is a heightened physicality. I haven't seen a bunch of every time a defender's in his face and knocking him off his spot and he's being softer, he needs to get stronger, which it is a big part of his game. I do think that is going to help him going forward, but I think it's just a funk.
Yeah,
mostly, which happens for a lot of freshmen. I think he'll be fine. Again, I said it about Ben. I think Christmas break comes at a great time for him to get back in the gym, maybe refresh mentally. And you'd really like for Chicago State to be a blow it out type of affair for him before you get back into Big Ten play and go on the road to Oregon and whatnot. So
I'm telling Riley and Ben, you're playing 40 minutes for Chicago State.
Right. Yeah.
Go out and have a day. Get every negative thought out of your head and just go have a day against Wright State. I think I'm exactly telling that. I know Jeff mentioned that it was the worst officiated game he's seen in all of his years. It wasn't good. I don't know if it's worse than the Arizona-Illinois game when the Illini fouled out 38 guys. But and then they were asking about the fan that got kicked out. That was actually me. I stole a Missouri shirt, put it on, and got what I wanted to get out of my system.
You got
the
down
officials.
the stairs fast then, because that dude came screaming down there.
I
and then-
know. Yes, I did see it, and it was I saw kind of the aftermath, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So he was running. Lucas saw it all.
Yeah, he just came flying down the steps and stopped right before the front row there and was giving it to High Knees Anderson, which I think maybe he was speaking for the people. I don't know exactly what he said.
Yeah, you may have been. You stink for Illinois.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, he was. The officials deserve some words, and then he just decided to run right back up.
He's like, I'm out. I got what
They
I done.
didn't tackle him. They didn't restrain him. He knew he was out, and the security kind of just followed him up the steps. So he said his part, and then got out of Dodge.
And just took off for a bar,
I guess. And
so
Dennis
true.
Gates was on the floor at one point. I thought he could have gotten tossed.
Man, I agree. I mean, Brad was having some words.
Yep. Brad was beside himself on multiple occasions, but the replay when Bates hit KJ with his leg, it seemed like he just purposely stepped right as KJ was picking his head up.
Totally did.
And they didn't call a tech or a flagrant or anything, and that one bothered him. And I had moved seats because of my view, and I was close to KJ's parents, and his dad was pretty upset about that one. I don't blame him.
Well, I don't either. I mean, when your kids, when you're literally showing violence, I mean, come on. I've never accidentally kicked anyone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe in soccer one time in PE for a week where I missed the ball and just kicked somebody, but I mean, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing, and then of course you just had this feeling that they were not going to call that, and then immediately here goes the booze, and it was kind of weird. I am slowly. I know we laugh about this that I said when the Blues win, I'm just not going to get mad at sports anymore. I'm slowly getting a little less animated when it comes to sports and getting really, really mad, or I still get happy. I'm still happy. But I think when I'm around my boys, I see like they're becoming me. And I'm like, man, you got a long life ahead of you, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be a long life. But I think when they are doing their thing, I just kind of back off. So it was kind of in a weird way. It was so cool to hear the boos so loud. And it's like, man, it just struck me like how many, you especially, how many big basketball or football events have you been to in your life where you just are so fortunate that you're there?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I mean, there's a lot of people in Enterprise Center yesterday, but to be one of them and to just take in that atmosphere, I mean, that's just maybe I'm just getting older and I'm appreciating things more, and whereas in the past I just took it for granted. But yeah, it was just kind of cool to just kind of sit back and just take in the ambiance and not get really frustrated.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I was wishing I was at a venue that was like either Illinois' home or Missouri's home, because now it's groans and complaining about every whistle.
Right.
Because
we sound like Purdue. It's a Purdue game.
But the thing about Purdue is it's only going to be when Purdue gets fouled on. But now because you got both fans there and a big enough attendance that nobody is happy after any call or any non-call. But no doubt, like, it was good to see a rivalry game that went down to the wire. Those games have been over by halftime, the last three of them. So there was that part of it as well. You did have, and it's a fair question. I know that Brad got asked about it, and people talked about it after the game too, of how much can you have this lasting rivalry when it's so portal, new rosters every year, and guys don't have carryover experience. It was chippy.
Yes.
It was chippy. Even Perkins, which it helps that he played at Iowa for 4 years or 3 years. Did you see the clip of him not wanting to give up the ball?
Oh, yeah.
And he was mad because they went to try to take the ball for a game ball situation, and Perkins was like, nope, I'm keeping this. And
Tommy's like
it was a feisty game. It was chaos. It was messy. It wasn't the most pretty, but when the horn sounded, it was a lot of excitement for Illini fans, and it was a fun game, fun atmosphere to be a part of. That one's always really good.
Yeah.
Especially when the game lives up to it, and it did yesterday.
Amen.
As much as it could, given the refereeing circumstances.
Yeah,
So,
that was that. They didn't have their best day.
did not.
They didn't.
Maybe they were already thinking Christmas break,
right.
You know,
that's they need some time to think about their game as well.
Imagine so. Well, we got to get to Jay Lehman here. here coming up next. He's going to talk about college football playoff. We won't speak to him again until after the bowl game, Illinois and South Carolina. So final thoughts on that one coming up, the Citrus Bowl. So 217-359-2255. Hit us up, Max Twin City Recycling text line. We had plenty already. Thoughts on Illinois, Missouri, and also we got a question for Jay. Fire that in as well. Join us next on the Tapman's Towing phone line. Stick around for that. It is The Drive.
Thank you for choosing 2 Men and a Truck. How may I help you?
Hi, I have a strange question. I'm moving my business. Can we stay open while we're moving?
That's not strange at all. With over 10 million moves completed, we understand that moving your business can be a daunting task. We offer a range of services that help keep your business running during the relocation process. We can help you pack, move, and unpack so you can focus on what matters most, your business.
Not sure how your move is going to work? Go to 2menandatruck.com for your free estimate.
In a good action movie, the impossible is overcome before the happy ending. The action that started in The Christmas Story continues today. All year long, church people work through Empty Tomb to help local neighbors face situations that can seem impossible. Clothes for a job interview, a bed for a child, food to eat when work hours are cut, 1 month's rent before the first paycheck, a tank of gas to look for work, a medical need not covered by insurance. Empty Tomb connects church people with local neighbors in need. And through the research and mission match, Empty Tomb also helps church people nationally recognize their potential to help others in Jesus' name. I encourage you to include Empty Tomb in your year-end giving. You can make your check out to Empty Tomb Inc. or give online at emptytomb.org. Your gifts in December will continue the action that began with The Christmas Story and continues throughout the new year. And Merry Christmas.
Back on the drive with Sam Pipe for ESPN Radio 93.5. My mic is going on Christmas break as well. This thing was not staying up, moving all over the place. You know, everybody's quit. Everybody's packed it in.
Right. We shouldn't have done the show.
Get home and get the eggnog going. And
Christmas vacation.
Yeah, throw that on.
Let's go.
Anyways, before we do all that, got to get to our guy. It's a Monday, which of course means Jay Lehman. Got him for 30 minutes. We pushed him back a little bit. Sorry, Jay. I'm sure you're happy about basketball. Lon actually made that call. It wasn't me, by the way.
Yeah.
But,
hey, Lon made the call. It's all good, fellas. Border War. It's great to see us get that W. You know, I go back. You know, I love mid-'90s. You guys listen to the show. I love mid-'90s Illinois history. It's my golden era, right?
Right.
So I was born in 85, so 1993 to 1997. I'll give you a little basketball love. My favorite player when I'm 8 is Kawan Garris. Totally underrated. I think he's like number 2 or number 3 all-time scorer for Illinois.
Yeah,
you know,
not in the rafters.
House. Unbelievable, right? 4-year starter, number 22 in the scoreboard, number 1 in your heart. Guys, I'm not wearing my seatbelt. That's the beeping in the background.
Uh-oh.
But what I could say is this. So don't worry, I'm pulled over to the side, guys. What I could say is this. What was our free throws yesterday? 23 of 24, something like that?
22 of 23.
Something like that. 22 of 23, and Boswell missed the last one to steal it.
Right.
I was having nightmares of that triple overtime game. Kawan Garris, lifetime like 90% free throw shooter, and he was short on 2 or 3 free throws late in the game, and we ended up losing that game to the worst comb-over in basketball, Norm Stewart. and I just remember like being devastated. Like before Christmas, it was always on 22nd, 23rd. And it was usually at night, not at 12. It was the Bush bragging right games. McBride Holmes wanted the Sunday morning slot, I guess. But it was one game I got to stay up late for, and man, how brutal was that, though, man? That was tough. But
yeah, Garris number 2, I believe.
I had to start with that.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I want to ask you this, because we talked a little bit about this on Benham Rickhouse and him just getting abused by Mark Mitchell. You played basketball. I know you're obviously better at football, but you were pretty stinking good at basketball, Jay, and had to rely on some physicality playing in the Big 12. Is it just we're just gonna watch that all year, just him getting abused? I mean, I just don't know what else he can do.
My thing is this: is when you get to top level football or top level basketball or anything, you have got to be able to give it out physically. It just doesn't work otherwise. And I'm concerned that if once you get a guy beaten up on tape once or twice or three times, on football coaches, I know they're just going to pick on that guy.
Sure.
And I wonder if that's going to be a game plan of like, hey, let's just get really physical on this guy and kind of push him around. I'm concerned. That was my only game my junior and senior year in high school. Be physical. Right. Play with your strengths, guys.
No doubt. Speaking of picking on, Jay, Friday night, Indiana goes down at Notre Dame. A lot of people on social media going after the Hoosiers. You've seen probably some bits and clips of the national guys. Some have been very vocal against them and that we got to fix the system so that a story like that doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, it was a weekend full of a lot of non-competitive games and the home team dominating for the most part. I know Texas and Clemson ended up being closer, but wanted to start with Indiana. What did you take away from the fact that Notre Dame really controlled that game, that it wasn't one that went to the wire, and for all the talk that Cignetti did? I know on the set there with Saban and whatnot, it didn't turn into a really riveting football game. So did you change your stance? I'm not saying that you were super pro Indiana getting in or not, but what did you think of Indiana's performance, and do you have some lasting takeaway on what that should mean going forward?
Well, first and foremost, I think Cignetti, love him or hate it, brought more attention to Indiana football by his statements and his record than you could ever do prior to this.
Yep,
so congrats to that. Do I think that if you it felt like Notre Dame controlled that from the entire game. If you watched that game, I think it ended up 27-17 with some late scores, but it kind of felt like Indiana was under duress the entire game. Interestingly enough, and this is a shoulda, woulda, coulda, some stats, can sometimes lie, but you take away that 98-yard run and that Notre Dame had early in that game, and the stats are almost identical. They kind of go back and forth a little bit. One thing that Indiana just simply was not able to do is they were not able to protect the quarterback, and they were running in passing situations and playing very conservative, not returning kicks, and that hasn't really been their MO. They've really kind of let it go. So I didn't think it was a well-coached game by Cignetti. I thought that Notre Dame controlled that football game, but I still believe a one-loss team in the Big Ten, you cannot hold them out. I think they played better than SMU. I even think they played a lot better than Tennessee, who got boat raced, who had 2 losses in the almighty SEC, right? Yep. And so I don't think Tennessee played any better against Ohio State, a 2-loss Ohio State team that was third in the conference.
Agree.
As well. So but all the teams looked really bad. SMU didn't look like they belonged. They looked like a group of 5 team out there, which they were last year. And Clemson has not been the Clemson the last 5 years. Since the portal and NIL hit, they've been slow to the game. They have not been the 2016 to 2019 kind of Clemson team. So they kind of got in just by winning the conference championship. So I think we need to take a look at, is it really about the top 4 conference champions that get a bye? Are those really the best 4 teams when some of the conferences aren't nearly as good?
Correct.
Is that really the best way to do it? Have we really mapped this out the right way for teams? So those are kind of the questions that I have moving forward.
Well, I think the Penn State-Boise State game will be one that will interest me because I feel as though maybe unfairly to Boise State, I just don't feel like they should have a bye in this thing. But that's me. I know people have pointed out how great their running back is. They've pointed out the fact that they gave Oregon a battle, and certainly Boise State could prove me wrong come that game. But imagine being Penn State and playing SMU and Boise State to get to the Final Four. I mean,
it's saving James Franklin's job.
Yeah,
Give us the biggest layup we could get.
Yes.
To the Final Four.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And then you look at Oregon, who has to turn around and play Ohio State again after only beating them by 2. And Will Howard was unbelievable in that game. I mean, he was throwing just absolute dimes. And then I can't think of his name now, the Ohio State wide receiver who's just
Jeremiah Smith. The guy who beat out Pat Bryant for the receiver of the year. Yeah, Jeremiah Smith.
He is just phenomenal. What do you think of that game and that rematch of Oregon and Ohio State, this time on a neutral, I guess the Rose Bowl? But what do you think of that? How who's got the advantage there? Is it Oregon to beat Ohio State by 2 early in the year at home, or is it Ohio State saying, look, we almost beat these guys on the West Coast. We can take them down?
So I think college football is a game of momentum. That's why I think it's so interesting to see how momentum transfers in these playoffs. And so I've always thought it's tough to beat a football team twice in one season. Just like in high school basketball, it's tough to beat a team 3 times in one season. Sometimes you'll play, especially in the Big 12 or Champaign or Urbana, they play 3 times sometimes between tournaments and a home and away. I think it's always tough to do that, and I think it's going to be tough to beat Ohio State twice. And I don't think Oregon's been in that many close football games. I mean, they had Oregon, they had Penn State, I guess Wisconsin a little bit, Boise State early in the year. But if Ohio State plays like they can play, they will win. The problem is you never know what you're going to get.
Right.
They laid a huge egg against Michigan, and if that team comes out there, that's an issue. The biggest thing is, can they run the ball? When TreVeyon Henderson can run the ball, and Tennessee had to actually say, you know what, we're going to try to we can't just play these guys man-to-man because we're getting torched. Let's actually play a zone with 2 deep. Then they handed the ball off, and he was running all over the place. And so can they run the ball against that Oregon defense? That's the one thing that wasn't that consistent all year. They've had to rely on the big play to Emeka Ibuka, to Jeremiah Smith. And they've got weapons for sure to throw the football everywhere, but that's been the inconsistent piece. But I think the momentum for Ohio State after that game certainly helps them. But Oregon's been at a different level than most teams. But I think you put on a neutral field, Ohio State's got to be feeling really good against their chances against Oregon.
Jay, we had Wade on the Max Twin City Recycling text line ask about if you feel like because of these first-round non-competitive games that there'll be different choices going in to next year as far as maybe what the committee values. I think you make obviously a good point is in terms of the 4 conference winners being the bye games, but could you see it be a different look at a 3-loss SEC team versus a 1-loss, say, Big Ten team or whatever that might look like? Say it's Big 12 next year. I've been talking recently. I wonder what your thoughts on this are. It seems like we're getting to the point where, and it's been voiced here by I think a couple of coaches, is because it means so much whether you're a 2-loss category, 3-loss category. There's no incentive to play anybody in the non-con. Maybe you need to go to basketball where it's all quad 1 win, quad 2 win. That the quality of victory should trump everything. Not say you want to get like a 4 or 5 loss team in there versus someone that's coming from a bad conference or whatever it might be. But let's look at the people that are beating the best people ultimately, and have that be something that is very much in the equation. And let's not incentivize not playing people or schedule luck. Even though I know that Indiana, you can't blame them for what they got in the Big Ten.
Yeah, no, I think something has to change. Brett Bielema would say it's what are the quality of your losses. Right. He talked about that a lot. What are my quality of my losses? I think it comes down to quality wins. Arizona State, are they a top 4 team? No. Is Boise State a top 4 team? No. I really want to see the top 4 teams, not necessarily conference champions, but they deserve a bye. And so if that's the system we're going to be in, I think they've just been so careful to try to preserve the bowl games in this thing, whereas, now that we have 8 left, you kind of have the New Year's 6 just going to play out again, right? You're going to have 4 bowl games, and then in the semifinal, there's going to be 2 more bowl games, and then there's going to be a national championship. So they've tried to create this hybrid model where we still honor the bowl games and whatnot and the tradition. And I can see those being good neutral sites for people to go to and events for players. But I just think it's fundamentally changing. I think we're going to get to 16 teams, and I think you're going to see strength of schedule play in. I think when you get into 16 teams, you could have teams with 3 or 4 losses get in. And I think that would incentivize of like, okay, it's got to be stronger. It's got to be a strong schedule because you've got to have some kind of quality wins in there that get you into that top 16. But right now, it seems like it's just so selective and narrowed down to wins or losses. There's not as much incentive. And I believe Shane Beamer for South Carolina said that. It doesn't incentivize us, the system now, to go actually play hard people. Why are we playing a tough schedule? Mm-hmm. So it's a good point, and I think we have to hear that out and tweak it again. There's been nothing that's been figured out exactly right with college football, and they're always tweaking it year to year, so we'll see.
Jay, let's get to the Illini. Of course, the transfer portal waits for no one once you open that door, and you got people going in. Penn State backup obviously is not available for the CFP, and he's already committed to Missouri. But for Illinois, you get a couple of defensive linemen from Wisconsin. You get Justin Bowick, the receiver from Ball State. The Ethan Hampton quarterback.
He's huge, by the way, that Bowick.
Yeah.
Man, is he big.
No doubt.
Sorry, I interrupted.
He's a big guy.
Ethan Hampton, the quarterback from NIU, who helped beat Notre Dame and now will be a home state kid coming to Illinois and have a chance to back up Luke. And you got 2 years out of him potentially to then hand off the reins. So what do you think about some of those additions and just what Illinois has been able to start with in the portal?
Well, I knew that when Leary, said, "Hey, I got to go," Donovan said, "I got to go because I got to get an opportunity." I think you transferred to Tulane. I knew they probably wanted a backup with some kind of game experience. I think that's where Hampton came in. You can never have enough defensive linemen or defensive ends in these defense, so it was good to see that. And then Bowick seems like a really big guy, highly productive at Eastern, and was productive in his 3 or 4 games at Ball State. So Jeremy Warner projects him as a starter. Usually Jeremy knows the game well, so I would say that's a big pickup and a pickup of me with Pat Bryant and Zachary Franklin going. I'm also excited, and though it's not sexy, is that we've retained a lot. Right?
Yeah.
We don't have a ton of players going. I don't think we've seen a starter really take off. Maybe Hugh Robertson might be considered a starter, but Fabrizio Pinton had kind of beaten him out down the stretch there. So I like some of the retention. We certainly haven't had, a huge splash, I would say, in the transfer portal. But some of these guys that maybe weren't huge splashes were really productive for us down the stretch. You think about a guy like Dennis Briggs, who maybe wasn't a splash because he didn't have a great year prior, but because he was banged up, was a big contributor. Zachary Franklin was a late splash. Corey Cox, late splash. And that was, I believe that was in like May or June. So a lot of these guys definitely helped. J.C. Davis, that was a good pickup for us last year. So hopefully we can pick up some more and retain.
Well, I want to ask you, Jay Lehman, our guest, by the way. Excuse me. And we'll have you get to your sponsors here in a second, Jay. And we will talk Citrus Bowl real quick, as I want to get your thoughts on South Carolina. This will be our last show before that game hits. So, but real quick, if I said to Jay Lehman, all right, you're now the GM, which I think we have those now in college, which is kind of crazy, but you're the GM of Illinois. What's the highest priority right now after knowing what you've gotten a backup quarterback that you needed, et cetera, with experience? What are your top 3 positions right now that you need to see Illinois go out and get in this portal still?
I think that's a great question. I think NFL teams will tell you that they build their offense quarterback, which we have, and left tackle. We got to go get a left tackle. That's the blind side of Luke Altmaier, and some of those great pass plays that we saw, big chunk plays this season that Illinois fans have not really been accustomed to see in recent years, did happen this year, and they were the difference in some games. But that only happens if you have protection. You got a lot of people coming back on the offensive line, but you don't have J.C. Davis. So I think a big-time left tackle. And, reading between the lines, it seems like Bill Belichick, we were in the running to kind of get the left tackle, I believe, out of Alabama. Right. And North Carolina picked him up. So I think that was who they were really trying to find. Now, they found some guys last year at lower levels. Melvin Priestley and J.C. Davis did great. So I think left tackle has to be big. I think also we've got to get somebody in the interior, defensive tackle or a nose tackle, to help out, Alex Bray and Pat Farrell and some of the guys that have gotten some time there. But you're losing Briggs, you're losing Tira Edwards. Can you get somebody? I know they just picked up somebody. What was it? What was his name? Kurt Neal, I believe.
Yeah, from Wisconsin.
I don't know where Kurt. Yeah, so Kurt. I don't know what position he plays as far as nose tackle or defensive tackle. But can they get a guy that's very solid at the defensive tackle position? And then I know we picked up some linebackers and they've splashed a little bit as far as Conte out of Iowa and whatnot. But I still think when you look at our defense, we struggled at the linebacker position. Do I think Malachi Hood got better? Yes. Do I think James Cruz got better? Do I think that Rosiak can be a really good player for us next year? Yes. But, man, I feel like you need a thudder in the middle to really shore up that run defense, which at times really was the Achilles heel. We couldn't get off the field, and we could not control the line of scrimmage and then control the time of possession game. So, again, it starts for me up front. I think with Justin Bowick, you address one of the receiver needs. I actually like our receiver core behind him, Malik Elzy and Hank Beatty. I think they're going to be decent. And I think we have a lot of experience on the back end, and running back's probably one of our deepest positions. Going to be very hard to pick up a guy in the portal with as many guys that get carries there. And so those are kind of my options as left tackle, defensive line in the interior, and then a linebacker that can thud and be a run stopper.
Jay, since we've been on the phone with you, Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports has tweeted out that the NCAA is granting a waiver for all players that were in non-Division I, mostly noting towards JUCO based on the Diego Pavia ruling here, that they will be granted the ability to have eligibility going forward for another year if that's how much they spent there. So essentially, between the lines or the carryover of this equation is that J.C. Davis could come back to Illinois ultimately. So what do you think about that? And maybe brief thoughts on this.
This is crazy. I love it. We got real-time breaking news and Pipes, a Twitter ninja on it. So there was a ruling, too, correct me if I'm wrong, Pipes, that JUCO is not going to count towards your football eligibility at the Division I level, right?
Yes.
So you could, we've seen the meme going around, you could have 10 years with red shirts and medical red shirts and stuff like that. Like you could be 29 playing somewhere. And I saw that Underwood didn't like it, some other people don't like it, but it is what it is. And so it seems like some of that's retroactive. So there's J.C. Davis, there's Daniel Brown, there's a number of JUCO guys. I wonder if that, for a guy like Zy Chrysler, because he was a JUCO guy, I think too.
Yep.
So we look at this and we're like, okay, is this actually a good? I mean, how are you supposed to actually build a football team when you don't know who's coming back, who's going to be eligible? It changes all over the place. It seems like everything goes to court, and when it goes to court, it usually goes in favor of the player, which I'm not necessarily against. I'm just not sure how you actually build a football team.
I'm with you.
And I think if you're J.C. Davis and you have a year where you go to the Senior Bowl, I'm not sure how much more you can improve your stock.
Agree.
Based on what you did, and you hate to say it, but you come back, and you may hurt your stock if you get hurt.
Yep.
And so I think for him, it's probably in his best interest to go. It's probably in our best interest as fans and our program for him to come back. I'm sure there's probably an NIL package brewing already for that. Now that's a ruling to get him to come back, and Luke Altmaier probably talking to him about it as well. But man, it's hard enough as it is. But man, this could totally change.
Big time.
I always thought that Brigham Young had a kind of advantage because a lot of their players were going a 2-year mission after high school, and their clock wouldn't start. So at 18 and 19, they go on a 2-year Mormon mission, and then they start playing when they're 20 years old. And they always were mature. They always a little bit more physical than teams, and have had good records and good teams throughout the year. Now, you look at a team like historically Kansas State under Bill Snyder that did a bunch of JUCO players because Kansas has a lot of JUCO. Now we're saying you can go to JUCO for 2 years, maybe 3 years if you redshirt in JUCO, and you can start at K-State as a true freshman that's 21 eligibility-wise. Or you could redshirt there, and now at 22, you're the age of what a typical senior used to be, and you can set all kinds of freshman records and play.
It's crazy.
And by the way, this might as well just be your part-time job when you're in the 20s because you can get paid now.
Right.
So it's not like you're working for free. So I'm just thinking it out loud now of like we could have these like grown men. I used to think that like in 7th grade you had the bearded 7th grader who was just great. Britt Miller was a bearded 8th grader and he just destroyed everybody. Usually these guys peak in 7th or 8th grade. Britt did not. Britt just kept getting better and better. But and I love Brett, and he's awesome. But now we're going to have literal grown men showing up. There used to be obviously the religious exemption, the other country exemption, and the military exemption that you could not start your clock. Now there's all kinds of exemptions. So it's crazy out there.
Jay, this is almost impossible, but we've got like 1 minute. What do you think of the Citrus Bowl with Illinois and South Carolina? And you can go more than a minute, but You've had a chance to you've kind of looked at the Gamecocks. What do you think of Illinois' chance, et cetera?
Yeah, well, we'll go more than a minute. I don't want to. I don't want to cut our sponsors short. Somebody get the sponsors first, and then give you my take on Centris. StephQ.com, not a bank, better. They're a credit union, auto, home, and commercial loans. Guys, they're building a brick and mortar in 2025 in Champaign, and they are committed to growing here. So check out StephQ. StephQ.com, not a bank, better. A&R Mechanical, AR-MECH.com. Design, build, maintain. 99 years old. They're going to be 100 in 2025. And our very own Stevie J is going to be the MC in August for that celebration. Just awesome, man. They built some of the iconic structures for the University of Illinois and Carle Hospital. They really do build the bones of these buildings. We're talking the mechanical systems, the plumbing, the heating. A&R Mechanical, they do great. And by the way, they had a guy come out, do a full service on my HVAC this last week. Man, they were awesome, showed up on time, got everything done. And, man, I love that my house is going to be nice and warm for Christmas. Not that it wasn't warm, but, man, he ensures it's working through that time, and the toilets are flushing and everything else. That might be a little too much TMI, but here we go. Number three is this, and that is Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, guys, home of the free 10-year protection plan. Of course, Long Branch Steakhouse, guys. We will find out in approximately 8 or 9 days if we have the 10-win banquet. That's what we're calling the 10-win banquet. That's when me and Lon fork over $500 for each for some of you guys to come out and have dinner with us at Long Branch. We're talking steak, fried pickles, fried mushrooms. Bam. Guys, our sponsors have been great. We want to say thank you to you. But now let's talk about the Citrus Bowl. The Citrus Bowl, guys, playing against one of the hottest teams against that South Carolina. They won 6 straight coming to this game. Shane Beamer was saying, hey, we're hot, and it's a game of momentum. But I do think you lose some momentum in that bowl game window, right? So, there's 3-4 weeks that you don't play. So I want to see how that bowl game carries over. It's 30 days for both these teams. I think they both played last on November 30th. And I think offensively, when I look at them, it comes down to their quarterback, right? Young guy, Lenore Stellers, 2,200 yards passing, 655 on the ground, 24 touchdowns. Can we contain a guy like that? We've done a decent job with mobile quarterbacks, but it's been the quarterbacks that we didn't think were going to run. Ethan Callie, Manis, some of the other runs, Ryan Brown for Purdue. You're like, did we know they were going to run or not? That's been an issue.
Sure.
And we've struggled to stop the running attack. I don't know, Pipes, if there's been confirmation on Rocket Sanders playing or not. He's their running back. I know he's kind of been a game time. Is he going to opt out? Is he going to be in?
He's checking.
And they're tight. And their tight end, Josh Simon, could have been all SEC. We've really struggled from the linebacker positions, number one, to stop good backs, and number two, to cover the tight end. Tight ends have really hurt us. So I think that is the matchup I'm looking at offensively against our defense. And then defensively, when I look at their defense, it's good that Kyle Kennard is opting out, but they got a bunch of defensive linemen that are really good. A lot of seniors in their defensive tackle area, and that's kind of their strength, is their defensive front. Third in the country in sacks. So can we protect Luke Altmaier? Can we run the football? That's been their strength, is the front seven and being really physical. They will turn the ball over. Young quarterback and whatnot. Can we make a couple turnovers to give us a chance in this football game? There's a reason we're one of the biggest underdogs of the bowl season. I think 9.5 right now, maybe 10. And that's because South Carolina's been playing really good down the stretch.
Jay, the South Carolina's 24/7 Sports site says that based on him declaring for the draft, that being Rocket Sanders, that he is not expected to play in the bowl game.
Okay, God, I didn't realize he had declared. So he's one of their better players, and I thought they were going to run the ball between him and Stellers, and it was going to be a long day. So I think their backup was Jawan Howell, and he's been decent, but no Rocket Sanders. So I think we're going to have a chance. They've had some opt-outs. We've obviously had the Pat Bryant opt-out. I'd love to see us go win a bowl game in Florida. I think that's a next step for this program, not to just be there, but to beat an SEC team and win.
How does Illinois attack this without Bryant? I mean, obviously, you take away your best offensive threat. What do they do anything different? I mean, do they plug Malik Elsie in that spot or whomever and just say, hey, we're just going to throw you the ball as well. Hope you can catch it. I mean, or how do you change a little bit of what you're doing now that you know you don't have Bryant?
Yeah, great question. One, you can't just replace a guy like
Right,
Pat Bryant with
right.
what he does after the catch. I think we all know that. I think you do rotate guys in there. I think Malik Elsley's going to get a chance. I think Alex Kapka-Jones going to get a chance. I think you'll see Hank Beatty, although not as big and plays a little bit different position, get rotated over there. Zachary Franklin might be highlighted. I think you'll see more passes to the tight ends and backs. I want to see Aiden Lawfrey. If he can build on what we saw in Northwestern and be 100% healthy, can he get out in space and get some chunk runs? We saw Josh McCray play good down the stretch, and this offensive line, quite frankly, played better down the stretch. And so I think Illinois is going to do what Illinois does, and that's try to keep the game close and try to make some close plays down the stretch. You got Luke. If Luke plays well, we'll be in the game. The problem is Luke's safety valve, who's bailed him out of 2 or 3 games, has been Pat Bryant.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure who that's going to be. You'd think it's Franklin, but we don't have that other weapon on the other side to kind of relieve the pressure off of Franklin. So we'll see who rises to the occasion.
Jay, great stuff as always. We've enjoyed this all season long.
Let's
Look
go.
forward to how the Illini perform there on New Year's Eve. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and your family. Enjoy the time, and we'll catch up after the bowl game.
Same to you guys. Take care.
Thanks, buddy. Jay Lehman. Great stuff, man. The Jay Lehman Hour. It's the best hour in radio.
It is.
And I loved how he was like, and I'm going to go over.
I know. I know. Perfect.
I loved it.
What do you think, Kyle? Oh, Kyle's not here.
Oh.
That reminds me of the Home Alone was like, Kevin's not here. They're handing the bag back. Kevin's not here. Oh, yeah, Kevin's not here.
He's not even
Kevin!
texting us. Yeah, he's not even texting us.
Kyle. I don't know. He's not here.
Obviously, he doesn't care about us, does he?
Nope.
He doesn't care about us. All right, well, what else we got to do?
Good thing because it's 4:06 and we haven't caught a break.
Yeah.
So we should probably do that.
Are we going to hear a little post game from Brad?
Yeah, we'll actually get to that.
I didn't get a chance to listen to it. I was driving home.
Get a little Brad Underwood in there.
I'd love to hear a
I
little
did think that we could give a sports one nomination for a naughty and nice. We wanted to do that. So
Okay.
maybe you could chew on that a little bit.
Okay. I'm chewing on a juji fruit right now.
I got one of them in my head.
The naughty and the nice. So
yeah, so pick a nominee for your, the naughty and nice list for sure.
Okay.
We're going to offer up in your sports fandom or just in sports this year, who's on the naughty list, just one person or franchise.
Sure.
And who's on the nice list.
Okay. All right, We'll take
thinking. Those 217-359-2255 Max Twin City Recycling text line. Will be back. This is The Drive.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Hey, could you tell me what aisle your car batteries are in?
Sure, I'll go grab one for you. Here's your battery. It might be expired, but oh well. Also, the brand isn't that great, but it should work for at least a year or two, maybe. Anyways, I went ahead and charged you for it, and here's the battery. Okay, have a great day.
What just happened?
Sometimes good things are hard to find, but they're worth the wait. Make the trip out to Interstate All Battery Center at 2504 North Mattis Avenue and get all of your battery needs taken care of by the trusted professionals. Give them a call today at 355-4855. Would you like to participate in a study from the University of Illinois? Support comes from the HIT to Sit Less study at the University of Illinois, seeking healthy participants like you between ages 40 and 75 for a study investigating sitting and vigorous exercise. Details at go.illinois.edu/sitless or call 217-333-0581. That's 217-333-0581. Springfield Avenue is now open. Yes, Springfield Avenue is now open. So from Kenwood to Duncan, you can visit El Toro easily, and it's open. Your favorite Mexican restaurant is open once again. After 4 months of construction, come and see the good people at El Toro on West Springfield. They've got your favorite Mexican dish, and they're open 7 days a week. Springfield Avenue is open. Enjoy El Toro Restaurant right on Springfield near Kaufman Lake, and enjoy your favorite Mexican restaurant. El Toro on West Springfield in Champaign.
At F&B Wealth Management, it's not just about numbers, it's about people and communities. Hi, I'm Ryan Heiser, President and CEO of Fisher National Bank and F&B Wealth Management. Our team is united by a shared passion for helping you achieve your financial goals. We are equipped and eager to work together to craft personalized financial solutions just for you, including retirement planning, risk management through life insurance, long-term care insurance planning, and investment advisory services. Together, we will celebrate milestones, navigate life's transitions, and build a financial future that reflects your values. Experience the difference of a team that truly cares. Visit investwithfnb.com to learn more about dedicated advisors and start your journey toward a financial confidence today.
F&B Wealth Management is a division of Fisher National Bank. F&B securities are not insured by the FDIC, not a deposit or other obligation of or guaranteed by the depository institution, subject to investment risks, including possible loss of the principal amount invested. Securities, insurance, and investment advisory services are offered through Midwestern Securities Trading Company, LLC, MSTC, member FINRA, SIPC, MSTC, and F&B are not affiliated.
F&B Wealth Management, supporting exceptional communities full of exceptional people.
Mom, she won't stop touching me. Broccoli stinks.
Guys, no phones at the table.
Family dinner time? Not easy. But you know what is easy? OSF On-Call Urgent Care. When you need convenient, affordable care for minor illnesses and injuries, you need OSF On-Call Urgent Care. Be seen in person or connect 24/7 online when and where you need it. Learn more at osfoncall.org/urgentcare.
Habitat for Humanity of Champaign County has been enjoying the 12 days of Christmas with exclusive sales, fun-filled activities, and festive surprises for the whole family. Each day will bring a new way to celebrate the season. Champaign County Restore at 1914 Glen Park Drive in Champaign will have gift wrapping on Thursday, December 19th through Saturday, December 21st. Bring your gifts to get wrapped with labels ready to put on them in exchange for a donation. If you'd like to volunteer to wrap, send a note to outreach@cuhabitat.org.
On the first Christmas, baby Jesus was born in a stable because God loves each of us. This Christmas, how can we show God we love Him too? Jesus said we can show our love for God by loving our neighbor. Let's make God happy this Christmas.
This is Jim Manley. Throughout this year that's been tough for so many, Empty Tomb Inc. has worked with church people to show their love for God through practical works done in Jesus' name. Clothes, food, furniture, and financial help are shared at our local neighbors' points of need. In addition, Research and Mission Match encourage churches to help our neighbors globally too. Your gift to Empty Tomb now will help people in our local area at their points of need all through the new year. Please send your check to Empty Tomb in Champaign, Illinois, or go to emptytomb.org to donate. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, baby Jesus.
And Merry Christmas to you too.
Illini fans win free tickets. Stevie J Broadcasting has teamed up with Express Employment Professionals, your local link to top talent opportunities. Text Illini to 217-359-2255 for your chance to win tickets to upcoming home games. That's Illini to 359-2255. Express Employment Professionals, respecting people, impacting business at 1001 North Mattis. Express Employment Professionals says go Illini. Visit expresspros.com.
It is the Drive with Sandpiper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Great catching up with Jay Lehman. As always, Tapman's Towing Phone Line. Great sponsors that make that happen. We've enjoyed that all year long and look forward to doing it one more time after the bowl game. So we'll see. We'll have the verdict finally if we're going to Long Branch or not for the 10-win banquet.
Doesn't that sound good?
It does sound pretty nice. No doubt.
Joe had asked, do the transfer portal kids start school where they committed in January so they can play in spring ball?
Usually, yeah.
Okay. I thought that was the case. I wanted you to answer that, though.
And that's why there's that difficult part of the timing window of you're like, oh, well, you're ruining bowl games, which, let's face it, people are going to opt out anyway because of NFL draft and whatnot. And you are having people in the playoff have to decide, should I wait it out or should I go in the portal now and leave? You want to get it done as far as where you're going to go during the semester break so you can get enrolled and get that all lined up so you can go when the semester starts back up in January, and yes, to participate in spring practice and all that type of thing.
Makes sense. I mean, that does make sense. Get to know the coaches a little better, then to know you, et cetera. So
for sure.
I don't know how many more Illinois would still take on this in the portal cycle, but I think there's still some needs for this team.
No
that
doubt.
would be huge about J.C. Davis.
That would be big time.
I mean, if he wants to come back, but like you or Jay were saying, I mean, there's probably, I think it was Jay, he said, I'm sure there's already an NIL deal brewing.
Yeah,
for him
right.
to say, hey, if you come back, heck, Luke Altmaier may take a little bit of his cash and throw it towards the big boy and J.C. Davis to protect his left side. So that would fit. That would be great. How do you think, I know we're going to hear from Brad, how do you think this NIL and portal, don't you think, well, I think it's I know your answer. So I don't even know if I want to ask. No, I'm kidding. It's really worked well for both football and basketball in Illinois.
Huge.
And it's especially basketball, obviously, with getting Damask last year, getting Meyer even. You know, you still were an NCAA team. So you had that. And then in football, obviously, you've picked up some really good players with Zakari, with JC we talked about. I'm sure I'm forgetting guys from last year as well. But, yeah, I just feel like whereas in the past, I don't think a school like Illinois, seemingly we were always a little bit behind where you were trying to get high school kids and certain guys were getting 5 stars. Illinois basketball, I mean, Brad Underwood's done a great job and his staff of getting some 4 and 5, but I don't know. Have they had a 5? Well, yeah. Kasparis and Will, I guess, technically.
Yeah. I would assume who on 24/7 Sports was a 5-star,
gotcha.
but he wasn't like a consensus across the board everywhere. McDonald's All-American type, but just on the outside of that range. And we've discussed before kind of the 25 to 50 nationally. Kofi fell in that spot. Curbelo did. I know it didn't pan out over the course of the career what we thought he would be. Anna Miller, again, similar deal, but that had been a range that had been beneficial for Brad. But obviously you get Kofi and Io, and those are 2 names that are up in the rafters and 2 Illinois all-time greats.
And they announced they're going to do Shannon
in February.
Okay.
Yep.
Io's doing pretty well right now in the
He
NBA.
really is, yeah.
What does that mean for him? Is he on a second year of a he's on his second contract,
second deal.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. And
I'd have to look up how many years
I was
going to
say I put you on the spot here.
But the Bulls are really obviously in a rebuilding situation right now. They're going to have to make some decisions on how much they want to further strip it down.
Right.
Where Levine will ultimately be gone at some point, and I think Io's showing that they want to make him part of the future in terms of building it back up. They'll usually teams like that will go super young, ultimately as some contracts expire and whatnot. But Io's got great value. He's shown promise. He can be a 2-way player. I think he's going to the rim at a pretty good rate.
Looks like it.
And, I mean, he had a sweet crossover. They just beat Boston, which it's some of those games
that's the best.
Yeah, it is. There's sometimes you're like, why are they beating good teams this year? Aren't they supposed to be losing to help the lottery in a really good draft? But, man, he crossed up Jaylen Brown like behind the back to the rim, and so super happy for him. And you know he puts the work in, and still a pretty young player in the league. I know you don't usually hear that, 23 years old. Oh, how old that is in the NBA, but or whatever it is. But yeah, no, it's a big deal that he is establishing himself as well as he is. He's a legit starter in the NBA.
That's incredible. And as I sneak our way back to this team, as we get ready to play some postgame of the big win over Missouri, KJ, I mean, right now you'd have to say Will Riley doesn't come out. Or do you?
What do you mean?
To the NBA draft.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it's still early enough that if I think it might be built in because of his body that there was going to be inconsistency. If he catches a heater from February through the end of the season, the NBA might say, hey, the potential is what we're drafting on anyway, and we've seen enough of it that we'll just take you now, and we're cool with some rocky stretches there in the early part of the season. As of right now, I do think it looks to be a legit toss-up, but it is probably still too early to call. I think that, and I think it was Scott weighed in on the Max Twin City Recycling text line, said, I hope that Tommy ultimately decides to come back.
No
I think
doubt.
that is where it's leaning right now as well. is that he would, because while he's been really productive, that he doesn't seem to be in position to be like a late first-round draft pick or anything like that. So even if he worked his way into like a solidified second-round guy, then he would need to be guaranteed enough versus what he'd make in NIL revenue sharing. So that's an interesting thing, as it is the guests outside the window.
This is part of the Hildred Agency crew.
It's testing your professionalism, your focus, and
they decided to jump on a bus, and they're hitting a bunch of area towns for some parties today. And
love it.
Looks like they're hitting the radio show right now.
That's perfect.
As they are all. That's not legal. You can't have drinks on the street. I need a police. Can I call 911?
Unless you're bringing some to share.
That's awesome that they're doing that.
I know.
They went out. They invited me, but I knew Kyle was going to be gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I've got to do the show. So here we are. We're doing the show for all the good people out there that wanted us to do the show.
Love it. Well, let's get some of Brad's thoughts after yesterday. He was really good in the postgame. Thought Kylan. I love listening to Kylan. I think
he's great.
It's such a. Well, there were a couple of weeks there in the start of this season where you're like, why isn't he? And he still hasn't shot the three up to, and just offensively in general, his field goal percentage. I think he was only 2 for 12 yesterday, but nobody's questioning like what he means for this team. I mean, his defense, his rebounding, dished out some nice passes for assists, and I think some of the offensive stuff will come along. But he was kind of slower starting as a transfer to this season, and some of the Ole Miss exhibition as well. Like, what's up with Kylan? I think anybody, I mean, the hometown story is what it is, but beyond that, I mean, he's just, what a vet to have next to KJ. And one that's seems to be like KJ's biggest fan, too. You'll hear that in all of his answers. Is like, there's no, I wish I was getting the shine that KJ's getting. And look, Kylan's got high aspirations that he hopes to play in the NBA at some point, and he's put the time in college. Like, you just get a selfless feeling out of him, and I think he's shown to be a leader on this team. He was really like directing traffic out on the court yesterday, and I love where he's at right now. And those two as a duo are really working well. So
and knowing hopefully that he's back next year.
That too.
I mean, number one, it takes a little bit of the blow off of knowing you're going to lose KJ after this season. So obviously Brad will try to find another lead guard, or maybe Dre plays into that with more minutes next season. But I'm sure he's going to continue to try to recruit at a high level, bringing in another guy to replace KJ. But, yeah, just knowing that Kylan is back next year makes you breathe a little bit easier, that it won't be such a fall off. Like if he were a true senior, let's say, and you were losing he and KJ at the same time, man, good luck replacing that. Now, granted, Brad just did.
I know.
He literally just did. He just replaced with them. So, but man, it does make you feel a little bit better to say, all right, we're still going to have a guy in Kylan back who is defensively really good, and we know what he can do offensively. Yeah. And his numbers will go up once KJ is gone, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
They'll have to, right? I mean, Illinois will need him to.
They'll be looking for another guard to play next to him that can do some of the playmaking and whatnot. So I think Brad has shown in previous years he likes having multiple ball-handling guards, and this little, I mean, I'm not going to say they're Io and Trent, but there are some characteristics of a bigger guard like KJ with Io, and a defensive-minded sidekick, and is willing to be one in Trent and Kylan, who are very good players in their own right and leaders and whatnot. So, if Will comes back as a sophomore, that could be something that you get really excited about. Tommy another year. Wow. Perez another year.
Wow. Let's go.
It's all sounding pretty good, but right now 8-3 sounds pretty solid as well, and we'll get as does back-to-back wins against Missouri. Let's get Brad and Kylan and KJ's thoughts after yesterday's victory in St. Louis. Apologies for that. Let's catch a quick break. I'll get that in order, and then we'll get right back. Kyle's gone, as you can tell. Blame him. How dare he take a day off? It is the drive.
Springfield Avenue is now open. Yes, Springfield Avenue is now open. So from Kenwood to Duncan, you can visit El Toro easily, and it's open. Your favorite Mexican restaurant is open once again. After 4 months of construction, come and see the good people at El Toro on West Springfield. They've got your favorite Mexican dish, and they're open 7 days a week. Springfield Avenue is open. Enjoy El Toro Restaurant right on Springfield near Kaufman Lake, and enjoy your favorite Mexican restaurant. El Toro on West Springfield in Champaign.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
You know, Casper shows why he's playing as well as anybody in the country. Again with the big three, and just finds his way to 21 and a nice night. I thought Morez Johnson was fantastic, as was Draven Gibbs Lawhorn, and helping us with important moments throughout the game. So we fought a lot of foul trouble. That's a new experience for us, especially on our front line. I thought Tommy was really good in the few minutes that he played. But again, I'm proud of this group, and that's a really good Missouri team that will be participating in March. So good win for us, and we get to go to Christmas break, and now we get really excited as a coach because it's get better time over the break.
Kylan, yesterday you talked about watching these games growing up as a kid. Just like, what does it mean participating in one, and then for like both programs kind of restoring the rivalry feeling of both games, with the 3 games in the 3 years prior being polarized?
I mean, it's an unbelievable experience. I mean, for me and personally, growing up in Champaign, being an Illinois fan, finally being in that arena, that atmosphere is unbelievable. Split crowd, refs making plays, calls and certain stuff, and for us to just come out, the right mentality, continuously fighting hard as a group, and just leaning on each other and trusting coach and the game plan. That we executed really well today.
Kylan, what's leading to all the free throw attempts now? That wasn't a big part of your game last year. What is leading to that this year where you're getting your head down and trying?
I mean, for us, the offense for me is just more open. I can tackle the lane more, stuff like that. And then coach, big emphasis on me getting downhill, being a stronger guard, getting fouled, getting to the line, easy buckets, easy points for us. So that's just been a big emphasis for me as an individual and then the staff.
So for both of you guys, what do you feel like maybe you did after they went on that 11-0 run to take the lead, just to maybe flip it back in your direction?
I think we just calmed down a little bit. We lost a little bit ourselves, but then we huddled, we talked, and I think we just get back to our game.
Did you do that happen today?
Nah, that was 2 days ago.
What do you think when a couple minutes left, the ball's in your hands? What's going through your mind?
I don't know. I don't feel any pressure, like there are 2 minutes left of the game or it's the start of the game. I'm just trying to make the plays for the team to make the right decision, and that's it.
You just on Kylan, pointing guys around offensively, but he was off the ball. How does he kind of step into a leadership role for you guys?
Yeah, Kylan is a leader. He's helping us a lot by talking, communicating, leading the team. Now all the last 10 minutes of the game, getting to the free throw line, easy points. I think he's the best leader of our team.
Kylan, what do you think it says about KJ to have the boys make that turnaround Jay and
crunch time for you guys?
I mean, I've been watching this since, he came here in the summer. He's just showing everybody who he is, the reason why Draft Board's how he is, best player in the nation, without a doubt. He's an inspiration for me, and just watching him continue to just grow each and every day. How much work he puts in that doesn't go unnoticed, and he shows up on the court every time.
Colin, what do you think maybe allowed you guys to get, you had to make 2 stops in the last 9 seconds, maybe force some tough shots. What led the defense to get that way?
I mean, for us, taking it with pride, I think it starts with me on top of the point guard. And then this past week's situations was a big thing after the Tennessee game. We put a lot of reps into that. Last second, guarding the ball, containing and stuff like that. I think just all that work we put in for this past week to show up today.
KJ, you were so dejected last week after the Tennessee game. How much did that fire you up for this game, and how much better is this feeling today to get over the hump?
Excuse me, what's the question?
Last week you walked off the court so dejected after the Tennessee game. How inspired were you to play well today and to finish?
Personally, the Tennessee game wasn't my best performance, so I just put the work in and tried to focus more on the game of tonight.
Connell, you got your hands on the trophy first. Did you almost drop it?
Man, that thing was way heavier than I thought. When I thought I was going to drop on the court for sure, but that was funny.
Connell, you shook your head about 22-point game against one of the best defenses. What do you think when you play with him and watch him do what he's doing?
I mean, for me to see firsthand, and I've already said that, watching professional play in college basketball games, it's unbelievable. I honestly was just, really happy for him. I think that's one of the biggest things for our teams, that nobody has any egos, nobody has any of those problems. Everybody's just generally happy for one another. And watching somebody who puts that work in and then just show up on the court each and every time he steps out there is a great experience for all of us.
What's it like to hear that and to know that you guys have that much belief in you?
It's amazing. Kylan always telling me on the court and the practices, all the advices he gives me, that he has a lot of experience in college, and he knows how to be a true leader. So he's helping me a lot, and I think I'm growing because of him.
Kind of what does Perez bring when he brings up comes on the court for you guys?
His straight impact, that's without a doubt. He steps on the court, it makes an immediate difference for us. And he's definitely an energy guy for us. How much effort he puts onto the glass and on the defensive end. We just want to be there to help him, support him at all times.
Both of you guys, how do you feel like you elevate each other? It seems like as a duo, you guys have really come along together well.
No.
Yes, I think that, like you said, we elevate each other. We, in practices, we're pushing each other by defending, attacking each other, and just making one and another better each day, every day.
Putting more and more trust into one another. Definitely starting that practice. Me and him just going back and forth with each other, trying to get each other better.
Okay, we'll let the players go.
Guys, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Coach.
Christmas, guys. We'll see you when you get back. Love you guys. See you now. All right.
We'll continue with Coach here. Coach, some kind of oddball lineups because of foul trouble. How do you think of that win? And what are your thoughts on some of the different mixes of players that get on the court?
Yeah, there's some nights where you just have to make do, and we had a really good idea coming in that Perez and Tommy were going to play together, and then probably have to do that a good amount. Mitchell's a load. He's a handful. There's no doubt. I mean, the first plays of the game were, right there. We figured we had to do that. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of foul trouble. I thought Perez was fantastic. I thought it was the best game of the year. He had 4 offensive rebounds the first half, and his energy was impactful. His physicality was impactful. But then I thought Draven came in and gave us a huge lift. We had KJ out, and we made a nice little burst with him in the game. So you get different lineups, you get different sequences of a game that you have to just kind of make do. And we played Trey a lot at the 4, which is something we haven't done a lot. And but he did a yeoman's job. He did a great job. And Trey was, we're not sitting there not talking about him. And I thought he was as impactful as anybody in the outcome of the game.
Right, your post defense had 8 of 20 on layups. Rosario was a lot of close misses, forcing tough ones. What did you see from your group? Again, that was rotating a lot. What did you like?
Yeah, unfortunately we committed too many fouls because I thought we call them Mozgoffs after an NBA player where you just jump straight up and challenge, and we work on those. We have a 4-minute drill every single day that we do on those, and they seem to think we were fouling, but I thought our contesting at the rim was much better. I thought we did a good job of forcing them to see bodies in the paint. They didn't pass it out. We had a pretty good idea that they weren't going to pass. So once they got it in there, they were shooting it over whoever. But I thought we did a nice job in there.
Perez got called for a couple of those fouls when he felt like he was going straight up. What does he bring on the defensive end? How does he impact that when he's on the floor?
Yeah, he's we're not asking him to do too much, but he's got great quickness. He's very quick off the floor, and then he's 260 pounds. And you combine that, and his growth on that end has been remarkable. The other thing that makes Perez great is he is an unbelievable communicator. He never stops talking. Our defense picks up with him in the game simply because of the energy he brings with his talk, and that's very impressive for a freshman.
What differences did you notice when Missouri went on their 11-0 run and then your guys were able to stop?
A missed layup, 2 bad fouls in the backcourt, which paraded them to the foul line. I think maybe even 3. I think KJ got one on an offensive rebound. He committed one after he missed the little layup. Those are you can't compound those moments in that time. You got to let the clock burn. You got to trust your defense. I love the shots we were getting. We got really good. I mean, Bam got a 12-footer. KJ missed the layup, so nothing strategically wrong. We had one shot clock that I think that we threw one up, but other than that, a couple bad fouls, and we got to grow from that. And they get one in transition because we run at the ball in the backcourt, and that is an absolute cardinal sin for us.
Fred looks like Kyle is your competitive and maybe emotional leader at times. How has he kind of established himself as a leader?
Yeah, he's just as I think these guys said. One, they go to war every day in practice because I hardly ever play them. I don't play them together that much. I play them opposite each other so they can just exhaust each other and beat each other up. And we did that with Trent and Andres Feliz and Io. So it's making each one of them better. He's got 60-plus games of college basketball experience. He's a high IQ guy. He understands moments of the game, very similar to the group we had last year that understood those. And he's talking constantly in the huddle when I'm not. And he's right. He's finding situations. And, when they went to their zone, we had a couple guys out of position. He's out there quarterbacking the whole deal. So his competitiveness, he's always talking about getting a stop. He's saying the right things, and that's a guy that's a veteran, and he's darn good at it.
You were putting this roster together this summer. Did you know he was always going to be that for you, or because you talked forever about doing things when the ball doesn't go in. You do it well today.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's who he is. We knew defensively what we were getting with Kylan. We knew that side of the court was, you took another one of the better guards in the SEC today. He's been playing great, and Robinson and just not impact. And we felt like we could really crawl up at him and pressure him, and nobody does that better than Bam. So, the leadership, the experience, we knew we were going to have to lean on that. But he just makes a couple layups and a couple clean looks at threes, and those days are coming. The adjustment is a first semester type deal, and he's going through it, Ben's going through it, Trey's been through it. Now we can kind of get to Christmas break and get settled in and be all right.
Brett, what do you see from AJ in those crunch time moments and didn't step up and make that shot today? Was that to you?
Yeah, it's just different. It's just different to be able to do that. He's like, Io got to that point. Io wasn't that way as a freshman, but he got to that point. Trent got to that point where you just want the ball. You're not afraid of the moment. You don't fear failure. You go to the gym at midnight after you get beat by the number one team in the country and you stay till 2. You put in 4,200 shots on the NOAA system that we have in our gym in a week when it's finals week. And by the way, he's a 4.0 student. So when you're doing all of that stuff, you tend to gain some confidence, and he's got a confidence and a swagger that's you're not afraid to fail, and that allows him to be really good in those moments.
What do you see carry over from the working late game situations and practices to the final few minutes?
Yeah, I mean it's one, they're huddling, they're talking, they're communicating, they're listening to us, substitutions. We were matched up better. We were talking. All those things happened. I think we executed pretty well. We executed the end of the half pretty well, and got a great look. But we just got to keep hammering on those, and now we get some time to do that.
Coach, yesterday you talked about the optics of the event, but over the past 3 years, it kind of hasn't lived up to that standard past pregame.
Depends if you win or lose.
Yeah. Right.
You got to be careful what you say there. When you win, the optics don't give a damn. That's a hell of a feeling when you beat a good team. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So regardless, what does that mean to you as sort of a competitor having these close games with the rivalry tension seemingly restored in this edition of the matchup?
Missouri's got unbelievable history. They've got unbelievable tradition, and I have so much respect for programs that have that. Not everybody has that. And they can go down a laundry list of accolades and successes, and the same with us. And when you get those two teams together and you get them in the unique circumstances, you get a crowd like today, which, by the way, ours was fantastic. And you create those things. And Dennis Gates a hell of a basketball coach. He is terrific, and he's that's an NCAA tournament team. And we're going to continue to play elite opponents like that every year, and the 4 other teams we played in the SEC and Oakland's and the really good teams in college basketball. That's the way we're going to choose to build our program. So it makes this game another game that is great for college basketball when 2 historic programs get together.
There's been times when you rely pretty heavily on the free ball. Do you feel like you're getting some more offensive versatility with straight line drives and post ups and whatnot?
Yeah, I think as much as we've relied on the 3, it's because it's what the game has given us. I think that they went to a lot of 5-man switching. Okay, well, I think we missed 1 free throw tonight. Good luck. Look at what we've done the last 3 or 4 games at the free throw line. Pretty high percentage. So now you're going to pick your poison a little bit guarding us. I thought we still had 4 or 5 opportunities. We left out there with drives. We didn't go off 2 feet, and they blocked. Yeah, that's what we do is drive it and shoot threes.
Brett, I know you got one more, but you feel like you got what you wanted out of this non-conference? Let's see what you
I don't know yet. I think I think we're we would obviously like to win them all, but I understood also that we probably weren't. That's just the value of experience. I think that what I am pleased with is that we didn't fall off the cliff. This group's got an unbelievable ability to just kind of move forward and learn, and they want to learn. And I've never been around a team that watches this much film. I've never been around a team that cares about each other as these guys. They don't care who gets it, who does it, and that allows us to grow, and we're doing that at a pretty high rate.
Brett Willis, 2 for his last 23. How do you help him through that shooting slump?
Keep shooting. He's an elite shooter. He's going through a moment. We've had everybody in the history of this program has gone through a moment, and I just told him. I said, if I ever see you hesitate again, I'm going to be disappointed. I said, you shoot that sucker every single time you're open, and I said, go home and come back, and they're all going to go in. And I said, it's sometimes guys get in their own way. He's getting great shots, and he's going to have a big second half for us.
Rob, is there a point? This will be the last question. Was there a point in recruiting KJ that you knew he was a don't fear the moment guy, or is that hard to judge when you are recruiting a player?
I had a pretty good idea when he was going up against other guys, some that are in this country now, playing in college, and he was always the MVP. He just found a way. And everybody can talk about everybody else, and all this kid does is figure out just how to get the job done. Maybe the greatest student of the game that I've been around. And so I didn't know that, but his work ethic is unmatched, and his care factor is so high. I didn't know all that, but I knew that what we were getting was a guy who wasn't afraid to be really good at really big moments against really good players.
Thank you for choosing 2 Men and a Truck. How may I help you?
Hi, I have a strange question. I'm moving my business. Can we stay open while we're moving?
That's not strange at all. With over 10 million moves completed, we understand that moving your business can be a daunting task. We offer a range of services that help keep your business running during the relocation process. We can help you pack, move, and unpack so you can focus on what matters most, your business.
Not sure how your move is going to work? Go to 2meninatruck.com for your free estimate.
There's a new showroom at Flooring Surfaces in Champaign. Choose your next floor in an incredible space filled with beautiful hardwoods, durable waterproof vinyl, elegant porcelain tiles, and the finest carpets in Central Illinois. Find inspiration around every corner. And when you need help, Flooring Surfaces offers free measuring, free design assistance, and expert advice. Visit Flooring Surfaces today at 401 Mercury Drive in Champaign.
Flooring Surfaces, your first stop.
You've changed thousands of diapers, played hours of peekaboo and duck, duck, goose because you do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow in Champaign-Urbana today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Pia's Sports Bar and Grill is excited about our bowl-bound number 20 Illini football team to face number 15 South Carolina on New Year's Eve at 2 o'clock. Plan to wear your orange and blue as we root on the Illini as they play in Orlando, Florida in the Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl on December 31st. Enjoy terrific drink specials and your favorite food and try to win some great prizes as you meet your friends at Pia's 1609 Springfield Avenue near Mattis in Champaign. Let's wrap up the year with an Illini win as you watch with fans at Pia's.
Sarah Champagne's Ben Quattrone on keeping his employees.
It's got to be the place to work. We have to pay the best. We have to treat people the best. Some of the guys wanted to order pizza the other day. Well, we bought 30 Papa Del's pizzas. BMW had the best month they've ever had. They said, can we have a cookout? Saturday, I cooked like 50 ribeye steaks. And they were expecting like cheeseburgers, burgers and hot dogs and stuff. Like, if I'm eating steak, you're eating steak. We both eat steak, we both eat hamburger.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com.
Is the plumbing in your home driving you crazy? From leaks to drips or remodels, Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing has you covered. Voted CU's #1 plumbing company, and there's a reason. Treating all customers like friends. Backed up sewers, clogged drains. Call today. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, 217-841-4728, or visit dogtownheatingandair.com. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circus Sports Illinois. Circus Sports, it's betting the way it should be. Circus Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circus Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com.
Must be 21 or older. For Illinois Problem Gambling Services, please call 1-877-968-7848.
Find the look you love for less at Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Explore their wide selection of quality pieces, from cozy sofas to exquisite dining sets from all the top name brands. With personalized service and expert advice, their team makes finding the perfect piece effortless. Create the home of your dreams with Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Exceptional customer service and the best prices since 1959. Stop by today or visit them online at kelseyfurniture.com.
Good morning, First Federal Savings Bank. How may I direct your call?
Speak with friendly, real people during lobby hours. It matters when you call First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. A real person located at the bank, not a recording, answers your call during lobby hours. Personal, friendly service makes a difference. 217-356-BANK.
Thank you for calling. Have a great day.
Rated 5-star superior by Bauer Financial, Inc. Fast, friendly, and local with local loan decisions and underwriting. If you're not already banking with us, give us a try. We think you'll love it here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 435120.
The City of Urbana has a new website replacing the current website to be more timely and responsive to community needs. UrbanaIL.gov utilizes a standardized template and style guide to be easy to navigate and maintain, giving the citizens of Urbana and visitors a chance to easily find information, integrating online tools, and providing better access forms, applications for permits, licenses, and online payments. UrbanaIL.gov.
In 1925, a small plumbing company began its journey in Urbana, Illinois. Over the decades, the business grew thanks to hard work and great people. In 1966, things changed when Dave Reichard, a veteran, met veteran Ken Asklin, who was an architectural engineering grad from Illinois. The two realized their shared vision for excellence. Their partnership took root, and in 1975, the name changed to A&R Mechanical. With Dave as president and Ken as vice president, A&R Mechanical expanded services, becoming the go-to full-service contractor for all of Central Illinois. A&R went from a plumbing-only contractor to a full-service mechanical contractor with their own sheet metal shop. Today, A&R is a plumbing, heating, ventilation service company with the same excellence in customer service as they provided nearly 100 years ago. Design, build, and maintain. That's what served A&R Mechanical for nearly 100 years. Find them at Lincoln and Kettering in Urbana or online at ar-mech.com.
Since 1955.
In a good action movie, the impossible is overcome before the happy ending. The action that started in The Christmas Story continues today. All year long, church people work through Empty Tomb to help local neighbors face situations that can seem impossible. Clothes for a job interview, a bed for a child, food to eat when work hours are cut, 1 month's rent before the first paycheck, a tank of gas to look for work, a medical need not covered by insurance. Empty Tomb connects church people with local neighbors in need. And through the research and mission match, Empty Tomb also helps church people nationally recognize their potential to help others in Jesus' name. I encourage you to include Empty Tomb in your year-end giving. You can make your check out to Empty Tomb Inc. or give online at emptytomb.org. Your gifts in December will continue the action that began with The Christmas Story and continues throughout the new year. And Merry Christmas.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock, jingle bell swing.
Doesn't totally make up for my blunders on the board today, but
it does for me.
Appreciate it.
I love Christmas music.
This is a good one.
It is a really good one. Sitting here looking at the tree here in Philo that they light up. It's awesome. So 2 days before Christmas,
and prancing.
You, I know Santa's going to bring a ton for your kids.
Santa's loaded up.
Do you and Haley, you got everything done? You ready? Nice.
Say yeah. We've got maybe one or two more things
to
pick up.
Okay.
Mostly one.
That
Haley and I are doing for us, we're kind of doing the whole let's not get each other much and save our money for after the season we'll go on vacation.
Amen. No, I think that's a good call. Really, what do you need?
Right, exactly.
I mean, we all probably need something, but like I could use the pan to make a ham in. Like, just something like that I've never thought of.
This is going to be an epic ham. All the research you're putting in during the commercial breaks.
I've been YouTubing. Literally, I'm just putting it in the oven. Right? But I'm like, what glaze how do I make glaze for the ham? Maybe somebody out there's got an idea of what do you throw, like pineapple and mustard together and like bake, or what's the brown sugar?
Yeah.
Like I don't have brown sugar cinnamon in my house. I don't have much. Oh yeah.
It's the most wonderful time.
This might be my favorite classic Christmas song.
Is that right?
With the kids jingle
I love
belling
it.
and everyone.
I do think pineapple's a good touch. When I put seasoning on stuff that I'm going to smoke or grill, you rub mustard on it and then throw the seasoning on top of that. Maybe do a little. I think you're supposed to do some Worcestershire.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
And then you do the mustard, rub that in, do the seasoning, and that's a good hold on it. It's got good flavor.
It would be.
Yeah.
So in other words, you put the Worcestershire in a separate.
You kind of and you kind of rub it on there, and
then the mustard,
and rub that in,
and then put some seasoning.
Put the seasoning on top of that. Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this idea. I have made ham before. I'm not exactly making it. I have heated ham before, but I've never done it with a glaze. And I don't know. I'm just always kind of trying to evolve as a cook.
There you go.
And just learn. I love to grill, but I don't ever consider myself in the top, 10 of people that grill. I grill for me. Like I burn everything, but I like it. Like I char my steak. I like that. I like it that way. So it's one of those where if I probably grilled for you and Haley, you'd be like, man, the steak is really done.
Haley likes it done as well.
Yeah. And see, my mom wants it on for like literally 6 minutes and 6 minutes or 2 minutes even. Like she's like, just put it on for 2 minutes, flip it over for 2. I'm like, do you want to just eat it out of the package? Here, I just got back from the store. You can just eat the steak there, vampire. But I like mine to be, I've always been a medium well kind of guy, and then I love it charred.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have, in terms of elevating the game, I have dabbled with some searing of steak, like get the cast iron pan and do it inside.
Yes.
And then maybe a little smoke on the grill if I'm really going to, if
I
I got a lot of time and I want to maybe, if the anniversary or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, then you're just popping them on the grill. With charcoal grill, I love doing that.
Oh, charcoal grill.
The best.
Charcoal grills are the best. I actually need to go get a new grill. That's going to be my Christmas gift to myself, and I'm not going to do it right now. I don't want anything to do with the rush of trying to go anywhere near a store right now. No. So I'm going to wait till after the new year, and I'm going to go find a grill and go from there. Christmas will be awesome, as it always is. I think the boys are going to come over Christmas Eve. Do you guys have any traditions yet? No, the kids are so young, you don't really have that yet.
They still are, yeah. We usually go to my mom's side on Christmas Eve.
Sweet.
And then we're hitting Haley, my wife's side, on Christmas Day.
That's cool. Yeah.
You get the split up there. And, yeah, I mean, we'll read the night before Christmas.
That's cool.
Last thing before go to bed on Christmas Eve.
Very
and I
cool.
think we're trying to – my son is 2.5, will turn 3 this spring. We're trying to feed him like Santa's coming tomorrow night.
Yes, baby.
And he goes ho ho, and I don't know. We'll see if he fully understands that. But him and my wife are making cookies today for Santa.
Oh,
so,
see, that's awesome.
We're starting those traditions.
I love that. I do like that. The boys always come over Christmas Eve. We watch Christmas Vacation and play Monopoly.
I like that.
And
it's great.
The older they get, the more competitive this thing gets.
Oh, no,
and it's like really stinking, like cuss words flying out, competitive kind of thing. It becomes a really competitive. And then, of course, after Christmas, we go to the Pekin Holiday Tournament. So Andrew will be playing. I just noticed today Mount Zion's ranked 3rd in the state in 3A. So we may run into Moline, which I think is ranked 10th in 4A. So that might be a nice battle there. But Andrew's loving life, starting for that team and just doing his job, just doing his role. He had 15 the other day at Mattoon. I was proud of him. Splashed a couple threes.
Great.
It's like, let's go.
Love it.
Most hams come with a glazed packet that you put on 10 minutes before the ham is cooked. Well, then I didn't buy the right ham.
Well.
Dang it, Butch. It's a Frick's ham. Those are really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it does have a glaze.
Sure. Maybe it might in the package. Otherwise, yeah, I'm sure some brown sugar and
I'll just
that
do-
can get it done.
I'll go buy some brown sugar that I'll use once until I make a ham next Christmas. Everybody's got brown sugar that they've used. They
yeah.
use one time a year, sitting in their in the
Hard as a rock. Stir this thing up. Maybe pound. Get the hammer in there a little bit.
It's like, let's go. Hey, you asked about naughty or
and
nice.
I did.
I think my nice is Luke Altmaier coming back after having a huge season. I was trying to think of other nice